Welcome to another speaking tip. I'm continuing my series on how to put humor in your speeches. I'm analyzing different speeches and we're classifying or categorizing different techniques on putting humor in. Today, I'm talking about something I call the dramatic shift. And as I've said, what humor really comprises is a surprise to the audience. They didn't expect that to happen. And it disrupts their thinking, and that causes the reaction. Now, in the dramatic shift, what we do is we have usually a very complicated or loud, serious sort of persona that we're in. We're not in just a relaxed persona, just talking to the audience, very relaxed. We're being very serious, complicated, usually fast. We're describing something that has a lot of motion to it, or a lot of components to it, and then we step out and we reflect back on it and say, well, that's ridiculous. Some small statement like that. Now, as an example, I was talking about maybe buying a car. You got to go down to the car and you got to get the coating for the paint, and you got to get the coating for the wheels, you got to get the rust proofing, and you got to get the warranty on it, and you have to get the service contract on it, and you have to make sure that the dealer is going to stand behind it. Well, that's ridiculous. Why don't you just buy a car from somebody you trust? You step out and just talk to the audience in a real gentle, general manner. I have a couple examples I'm going to show you from some speakers that probably did a lot better job than I did right then. But I'm just trying to give you the idea. So I'm going to share my screen here. The first speaker, and I like to use the world champions on this. The first speaker I'm going to share with you is Mark Brown. Mark Brown does this brilliantly a couple of times in his speech. And I'll show you this first one and we'll talk about it, but see what this looks like here.
Picture this. The villain is the influential Gaston. He's tall, dark, handsome. I can relate to that.
Okay, so what we have there, he's tall, dark, handsome. And you can sort of see how I said he's tall, dark, handsome, describing somebody else, which actually looks like himself, which is another humor component. But then he goes into more of his real persona and says, I can relate to that, which then reflects back because he's tall, dark, and handsome. Now, there's another one that he does in his speech, which we're going to do here, which is brilliantly done. So let's watch this one. Not sure what happened there.
They just know nothing about the beast. But Gaston, he fuels their fear of the unknown and whips them into a frenzy. This angry mob cuts down trees and they make clubs. They brandish knives, pitchforks, and torches. And they march through the forest singing, we don't like what we don't understand. In fact, it scares us, and this monster is mysterious at least. Bring your guns, bring your knives, save your children and your wife. We save our village and our lives. We'll kill the beast. Why? For a year.
Okay, you saw the reaction that got. He had this huge dramatic component. And then why? That was a long laugh that he got. It was a dramatic shift from what he created to reflecting back on that in a common sense persona, a real persona of who he is, back on to what he had just said. Now, the last person I want to show you is LaShonda Rundles, and LaShonda has a little different style in her, but I think it qualifies as the dramatic shift component. So let's watch what she does.
But if someone knows that you cannot swim and they hurl you into the deep end, but then dive in to save you, is that a rescue? Because
okay, is that a rescue? And she's talking about how her mother would always put her in situations and then pull her out of them and rescue her. But you saw how she said, if somebody hurls you into the deep end, they know you can't swim, and then they dive in to save you. And a little pause, is that a rescue? It's a different persona that she comes out with, more real, to reflect back on what she just said. the dramatic shift. Okay? And there's a lot of ways to do this. And as I said, I think one of the first humor tips I had, humor has a tremendous amount to do with word emphasis, even syllable emphasis, and timing. And in the dramatic shift, your emphasis and timing is very important as well. But it's another component you can look at as you're putting your speech together. Is there an opportunity to create sort of a scene and then step out of it and look back at it with the audience and point out how ridiculous that scene is, or point out some common sense aspect that you need to make your point on it. So that's your tip for today, the dramatic shift. Throw it in some speeches, try it, see if you can get some laughs. If not, do it again until you get some laughs. Okay, I'll see you guys next week.